word में अगर describe करना है तो this is a hard hitting film, like edge of a seat kind of a vibe is also there in this film. Like पूरे film में आपको feeling आएगी कि आगे क्या होगा, आगे क्या होगा.
Single word में discuss करना है film का मुझे क्या लगता है in one word if I have to describe it, I will say the film is very honest.
Thematically, cinematically, performance-wise, music, background music. You know, this film is perfection.
So my favorite scenes in the film are the romantic portion, which is quite ironical because the film is so hard hitting, but the romantic scenes captured my attention.
The nature of the story is so rustic. It is so rooted to our earth, and the characters are so real that for many people, you would believe that these are not actors who are performing. These are actually characters, and that I think is the biggest victory of this director.
Yeah, what I also liked is that the film doesn't get into the right and wrong. Both are right and both are wrong. You're listening to Dime a Dozen Films podcast. Hello Ashuji, hello Saurabh.
Hello Nalini, hello everybody. It feels like eternity that we've got back and not spoken. कभी कभी ये 7 दिन भी 7 साल की तरह लगता है. ऐसा लगता है हम लोगों का इतना हम लोग रेजोनेट करना शुरू हो गए एक दूसरे के काम के साथ, फिल्म्स के साथ, थॉट के साथ, कि कभी कभी लगता है कि रोज बात करनी चाहिए.
Yeah, this was especially a long gap. It was a long pause. Yeah. How are you, Saurabh?
I'm fine, Nalini ji. Hi, Ashu ji. Long time no see.
Long time no see, long time no hear. Nice to hear from everybody.
वो 7 दिन.
Yes.
उसमें वो नीलू फुले का डायलॉग हुआ करता था, नाड़ा.
अच्छा, तो आज के टॉपिक के बारे में मैं सौरभ को माइक देना चाहती हूँ. वो इंट्रोडक्शन देगा सबको, लिसनर्स को. So over to you, Saurabh.
Yeah, so today we will discuss about Vetrimaran's hard-hitting movie Vidhuthalai, starring Suri and an extended cameo of Vijay Sethupathi. तो आज उसके बारे में हम डिस्कस करेंगे. And interestingly, इसका theatrical version भी है and there's a director's cut also on Z5. So हमने तय किया, this is just to ensure the listeners, कि नलिनी जी ने theatrical version देखा है, आशु जी ने director's cut देखा है और मैंने दोनों देखा है. So we will have a interesting conversation about the theatrical version also and director's cut also. तो उसमें क्या-क्या extended scenes हैं वगैरह उसके बारे में भी हम चर्चा करेंगे.
और सौरभ, मैं आपको बता दूं कि क्योंकि ये लंबा गैप था तो मैंने भी दोनों देख लिए.
Nice. आशु जी, आपने थिएट्रिकल वर्जन देखा क्या?
नहीं, मैंने सिर्फ एक्सटेंडेड वर्जन देखा है. और यार डायरेक्टर होता हूँ तो डायरेक्टर होते होते एक्सटेंडेड वर्जन देखने का ही मजा कुछ अलग आता है, कि इसमें समझ में आता है कि एक डायरेक्टर की सोच क्या चल रही है. सारी चीजें देखने को मिल जाती हैं. वो सारे प्रेशर्स जो होते हैं ना, कि यार एक एक्स्ट्रा शो मिल जाएगा, लेंथ कम करो, नहीं तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स जो हैं बोलते हैं हमको शो कम मिलते हैं, तो कैश रजिस्टर्स डोंट रिंग एज मच, वी वांट एक्स्ट्रा टर्नओवर. वो सारा चक्कर नहीं है. यू सी अ फिल्म फॉर द फिल्म. It's just become so commercial. Everything has become so commercial everywhere, especially in films. और वो मेरा एक पॉइंट होगा जो मैं इसमें डिस्कस करूंगा, कि ये कमर्शलाइजेशन ने हिंदी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री को मारा है, which is a very very critical thing, but we will come to that later. As of now, it is over to you, Nalini ji.
Yes, I just wanted to tell the listeners that this film, the suggestion to watch this film came from Saurabh Nair, because he's not only a fan, but he has seen practically all of Vetrimaran's films. I think I haven't seen all. And since I don't know the language, I don't remember the titles. And the suggestion came from him, and I really want to thank him for giving us this suggestion to watch this film. I probably would have watched it otherwise also, but it was a strong suggestion, and that's why we are here today. And we think that this film needs to be discussed. So those of you who have not seen it, I just wanted to let you know that there will be spoilers in this, because we cannot discuss a film without, talking about the spoilers because that's the involvement that we have every time we watch a film as audiences. So spoilers honge agar aapne nahi dekhi hai to I would suggest that you all watch it. Over to you, Saurabh.
Yeah, so ये फिल्म मैंने देखी. I was hearing a lot of things about this film, and I am a Vetrimaran fan. One of my favorite filmmaker is Vetrimaran, Indian filmmaker. मगर मुझे काम के सिलसिले की वजह से मैं थिएटर जा नहीं पाया. So I was waiting, and then I got this extra treat of director's cut. So I was even more excited. So मैंने डिसाइड किया कि दोनों देखते हैं. हालांकि when I suggested Nalini ji and Ashu ji, I also haven't seen the film, so I thought we will see together. So we decided that Ashu ji will watch director's cut, Nalini ji will watch the theatrical version, and I will see both. But the film was so good that Nalini ji have seen both the versions, so that's nice.
Yes.
And या तो मैंने स्टार्टिंग में इंट्रोडक्शन देते वक्त ही बोल दिया था कि वन वर्ड में अगर डिस्क्राइब करना है तो दिस इज अ हार्ड हिटिंग फिल्म, हार्ड हिटिंग. और उन्होंने बहुत ही लाइक एज ऑफ अ सीट काइंड ऑफ अ वाइब इज आल्सो देयर इन दिस फिल्म. लाइक पूरे फिल्म में आपको फीलिंग आएगी कि आगे क्या होगा, आगे क्या होगा. अरे सूरी सूरी द प्रोटैगनिस्ट, लाइक उनके बारे में बात करेंगे, उनके परफॉर्मेंस के बारे में भी. द एंटायर फिल्म आई वाज सीइंग फ्रॉम द सूरीज पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, his journey from being a good cop, then getting into that dilemma कि कौन अच्छा है कौन बुरा है. And this film also shows the brutality of police, which he showed in his previous film also, Visarane. He made a film in 2017, 2016 I guess, Visarane, जिसको नेशनल अवार्ड में मिली थी. उसमें भी उन्होंने पुलिस ब्रुटैलिटी बहुत ही एक्सप्लिसिट वे में दिखाया है. So इसमें भी he did the same thing. So that's why this film becomes even more gripping and hard hitting.
Absolutely. Ashuji, what did you think of the film?
तो मेरे लिए अगर इसको सिंगल वर्ड में डिस्कस करना है फिल्म का, मुझे क्या लगता है इन वन वर्ड इफ आई हैव टू डिस्क्राइब इट, आई विल से द फिल्म इज वेरी ऑनेस्ट. And I'll tell you why I am saying it is honest. Because unless there is no honesty towards your craft, whether it is writing, whether it is acting, whether it is direction, whether it is whatever form of craft that you are related with the film, your honesty is driven by passion to execute the film. And unless there is no passion, you don't have a film. You will not have a way to connect to your audiences. You will not have a way to understand your audiences, and the audiences will not understand you. So when I say honest, I will tell you what I mean by that. I've seen Suri in some other films, in some other roles, but to see him like this in this film, you can see there is a transformation of body. You can see the vulnerability. You can see the effort he's putting in for the role. You can see his body shape. He knows, you see him and you know, he looks like a cop. He looks like a fit cop. He looks like somebody who's come here for a job. Then to go and shoot in a jungle where I do not know whether the basic amenities will be there for the actors and the other rest of the technicians who are so used to staying in five-star hotels and staying in plush places with comfortable hospitality and food and travel. You have to let go of all of that to get into the skin of the film and the character. And I'm talking about not only actors, I'm talking about the DOP, I'm talking about the director. Unless everybody doesn't come on the same platform with that honesty, you will not see a film that will vibrate with you, that will affect you in the way it does. So for me, I think it's so brutally honest in terms of storytelling. It is unadulterated, and everybody has put their best foot forward. I was a little surprised. I've never seen Gautam Menon act in a film before. I've known Gautam Menon from Rehna Hai Tere Dil Mein, where I was directing my first film and he was directing his first Hindi film. And we were together in New Zealand shooting our films together. And my interaction with him at that point of time. So to see Gautam Menon act was pleasantly surprising, and I was very happy with the way he's worked in that film also. But one word to come back to it, I think it's really honest.
Yes, absolutely. Thematically, cinematically, performance-wise, music, background music. This film is perfection. I can't think of any other word. And it's not even the kind of film that I would normally enjoy or want to watch both the versions. It's because the story, it's an age old story of the government and cops versus the tribals. In this case, they're not Naxalites, but close to that. They're called the People's Army. So the subject is not new. The treatment is par excellence. And this film has you hooked from the time that the voiceover comes. The screen is black, but there's a voiceover, and then the opening shots.
And that voiceover is by Vetrimaran, the starting voiceover.
Yes, because I heard him tell somebody, I think it was an interview that I watched, where he not only does the dubbing in all the languages for all the actors, he's so fond of that. So Vetrimaran's, I guessed, I didn't know, but thank you for telling me that. But I guessed that it would be him giving that voiceover. And then you see, right in the beginning, you see a continuous shot of a train that has been bombed. But I mean, I leave it to the viewers to watch the film. It is cinematically, that scene, the continuous shot, there's no similarity in terms of subject, but it did take me back to 1917, sort of, the film. Because when I was watching it itself, I felt, oh my God, this shot, I don't know how long, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, I have no idea.
8 minutes.
But how many?
8 minutes.
8 minutes. There's a continuous shot. Of course, they constructed that railway bridge. They didn't get permission to shoot otherwise. And like Ashuji was saying, it's beautifully shot in the jungles. And also in the jungle, from I read about this film, I was wondering how they could have shot so much footage in the jungles. It's the aerial shots and everything are fine, but the actual village. So apparently they did construct a village. They constructed a temple, houses, and pathways and everything. So that is constructed, but it doesn't look constructed. It doesn't look fake. The police academy, which is called the E Company in this film, that's also a set. But again, so honest. The story, the way it unfolds, and like Saurabh said right in the beginning, in this film, even in the romantic portions, it's a thriller. My heart was in my mouth all the time, hoping, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what's going to happen now? Are these two going to be hit? Is somebody going to make them suffer? Is somebody going to kill them? So it was just brilliant. And the climax, we're going to talk about the climax later. As I said, listeners, there are going to be spoilers in this, but it is one of the best climaxes I have seen in cinema, not just Indian cinema. I don't know how long it is, 14 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. I don't know. Sora will know those details, but nothing about that climax looks fake. And it's only in the climax, Saurabh, that slightly, I think just for less than a minute, there's a little bit of a slow motion shot of Suri running.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's all in real time. And like Ashuji said, Suri's character, I mean, this is a role of a lifetime for this man. He looks like a cop, he behaves like a cop, he's got the softer side, he never gets the harsh side, but he gets determination. And when he goes for that gun in the end, anyway, I'm just going to go on and on because I love
There's a interesting difference also if you see the climax and the start of the film. So the start of the film, when Suri enters, you will see this jungle and the whole logistic of that jungle. And in the end, when he's fighting, you see these small houses.
Yeah, yeah. Saurabh, I had a question since we are talking about Suri. The character, the innocence and everything is established right in the beginning. The soft heart, the honesty that he has, because he prefers not to apologize but take the punishment because he always feels that he's done what's right. Does this link up to the end when he says that he has seen Perumal or he has seen somebody like Perumal? One question, how did he know it was Perumal? Because Perumal's face was covered with a muffler. Perumal's character in the film is played by our favorite Vijay Sethupathi. He's the leader of the People's Army in the film. So it's
No, no. So if you see the second time he sees them, he sees Vadyar, Perumal.
yeah, he doesn't see. That's why I saw it twice for that. You know what he sees in the beginning, in the night when he gives them a lift.
Yeah.
Vaityar's character, which is Perumal, is his face is covered with a muffler. Of course, you can see his eyes. They come and sit in the jeep. There's some joking happening or whatever, and then he looks back, and you can only see Vijay Sethupathiy's eyes. They get off. They go. Now, cut to much later when he comes to the village. He sees three men. The one sitting right in front. None of them are Perumal. None of them are Vaityar.
No, no. At the start, he sees Vadyar and he ignores him and he leaves. So he says also, I think he didn't. He doesn't remember me. Suri says.
Okay, I felt that he didn't see his full face. So my question was following up with that was because later on when they show his being such a good cop, in the beginning he says, "Na कि मैं shooter हूँ, मुझे gun दो, कोई उसको gun नहीं देता." They are making him do all these chores. My question was, he has not seen the full face. He has seen the sketch. He has kind of said, "Okay, fine, this guy looks like the guy that I've seen." And in the end, the astute character of this thing to know that he's right up there and to lead the cops to him. So the policeman inside him. So he was always an intelligent, very capable cop.
Yeah, he is intelligent. That's why he that scene where this guy Vijay Sethupathi and 3 4 men are there. He says that I think all are outsiders. He
Yeah.
guesses after seeing their faces itself, and he says that अरे आप लोग तो बाहर के लोग हैं. So I think that's why he's smart and intelligent. They already established his character's traits.
You see, the thing is that we are at a disadvantage also because we don't know the language. And so we are dependent on the subtitles. And the subtitles, I don't know how they translate well into the language. So there's quite a bit that as people, and because it's a film with a lot of dialogue, so you have to look at both things. So in that also, I think we miss a lot. I don't remember that at all. In fact, I should then watch it a third time. So, and this girl, the girl that they've chosen, her name is Bhavani Shri, and I had no idea. So I read up on her that she's A.R. Rahman's niece, and she's multiply talented. She sings, she acts, she's a model, she even directs. She's worked as an AD. And what fabulous casting, no?
Yeah, yeah. The romantic scenes are one of the best scenes in the film.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially the second song when they're going through the jungle with just that one lantern and Raja's music. And you know, in that song, I was very nervous. I thought at any point in time, somebody's going to come and attack them, or at best attack him. And in the extended version, which you all have seen, both of you all have seen the director's cut, which is not there in the theatrical version, I think, is the conspiracies, right, to get rid of him.
Especially the character of Amudam, the tall guy.
Yes, Amudam who sent on leave. Yes. What's beautiful about this film is the slow burn in the beginning. The slow burn, it just works. It just works, especially Suri's character.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that the film is also technically so brilliant in terms of the camera work, in terms of the stitching of shots, in terms of the lighting, in terms of so many other things that, strangely, it never overpowers the story or the narration of the film. It just is so much in sync, which I think is the most critical thing that every filmmaker should sort of learn, that everything should be under the umbrella of the film, of the story. Everybody should be performing within the ambit of what the film or the story is. And the moment it stands out to sort of tell out to its audience to get noticed, look at my lighting, look at my camera work, look at the way I've done the VFX for this film, look at my performance, see my dialogue delivery of the film. The moment those little anecdotes start coming out across, what it is doing is it is taking away from the actual story for that little moment. And I think the precedence should always be on the story of the film. And in this film, your attention never moves away from the storytelling, from the characters, or from the conflicts, from the internal conflicts, which are layered so brilliantly.
Yeah. You were talking about the seamlessness of the technicalities. It reminds me of something that Sai Pirajpe has said very famously. कि अगर तुम सिनेमा जाओ और मेरी पिक्चर में तुम अगर वो नोटिस करो कि एक कैरेक्टर ने दो अलग अलग जुराबें पहनी हैं, तो फिर I have failed as a filmmaker. And if we, there are so many films. We spoke about Bhola in the past. We've spoken about Pathan also. And there are so many films where they are screaming at you that, my God, the narrative is not carrying, is not involving you. And so you end up looking, acha, ye lighting hai, ye camera, arey, wo shot kaise liya? But you're absolutely right. In this film, the storytelling and the acting, the performance, every single person, the set pieces are so well done that you're just carried into a story. And this is not the kind of story that is film that is easy to watch, because there's lots of violence against women, which is tough, so you do end up closing your eyes. But even so, it never makes you want to not watch what happens later. So if you're going to notice things like technicalities in a film, I think the filmmaker is failing. So you're absolutely right, Ashaji. This was fabulous.
Also, the other thing, which I would like to say, for example, the background music. Although you really loved the background music, see Ilayaraja's work as a music director. He's a genius. There's no doubt about it. But what does background music mean? It means to be playing at the background that supports the visual or the story at that point of time. It doesn't overpower it. It is supposed to remain at the background and just give that emotion a little push, a little enhancement. And that is what this does so brilliantly. It never overpowers the scene that the director is trying to set up or to build. And for me, that is the brilliance of this whole film. Nobody. So, as a director also, I always believe in people, whether they agree with it or not. I always say कि मेरा काम फिल्म में दिखना नहीं चाहिए, और अगर मेरा काम फिल्म में दिख गया तो मतलब मैंने कहानी ठीक से बोली नहीं. मेरे कैमरा मूवमेंट्स देखिए क्या है, मेरे शॉट का कॉम्पोजिशन देखिए क्या है, मेरा शिफ्ट फोकस देखो इस टाइम पे ऐसे चल के आता है. All those are tools to effectively tell a story. And over here, the nature of the story is so rustic. It is so rooted to our earth, and the characters are so real that for many people, you would believe that these are not actors who are performing. These are actually characters, and that, I think, is the biggest victory of this director. So I think the film has a lot to sort of learn. I've like Saurabh, I've not seen all his earlier films, but I've seen Asuran also, and Asuran also is a film that has a lot of village and a lot of jungle in it, and the rusticness of the character. I think that's probably the strong point of this director of Vetrimaran also, to sort of portray his characters in the very native form. And for me, therein lies the biggest difference in terms of films and in terms of storytelling.
Yeah, what I also liked is that the film doesn't get into the right and wrong. Both are right and both are wrong.
If you see only the theatrical version of the film, not the director's cut, in theatrical version, there are these three cops. One is Suri, second is Gautam Menon's character, and third is that guy OC's character, the senior of Suri. So if you see all these three character, one guy is honest, second guy is Menon. Gautam Menon's character is honest, but he is brutal also. Like he can go to a certain beyond a certain extent, like extremity. He can go towards that, like shooting people, killing people without seeing they are innocent or criminal. The third one is extreme, like extreme brutal. So you have these three different cops in the film. If you see only the theatrical version,
Yeah.
obviously, director's cut, you have Amudam's character also, who is also honest like Suri.
Yeah, he's an upright cop who gets sent on leave. And Gautam Menon's character is also, I think, represents a cop who can get things done regardless of the consequences. He's basically like, there's a dialogue where Rajiv Menon, who plays the secretary, says that this guy is nice, no? Sunil Menon, nice, no? I mean, so he gets stuff done and he gets results which have not been happening before. And Gautam Menon was very impressive in this. I've seen him acting before, but I thought he looked the part. He acted very well. That's a nice comparison that you've drawn, Saurabh, on the three cops: complete innocence and good-heartedness with absolute barbaric. Uh, even it's not just the physical violence; it's how the OC thinks. He's so violent in the way he thinks, and so vengeful, and yeah.
And there is a perfect hierarchy also, if you see hierarchy of police officers in this film and their behavior according to that hierarchy.
But most of them suck up to the OC, na? Most of them suck up, except for this guy.
And this guy has that tendency to uh, surpass his hierarchy position, Suri's character.
Yeah.
So he's a constable, but he has all those abilities which a inspector or DGP should have.
Yeah. He notices things. He's very sharp.
Yes.
And on the bus ride, when they show you the introduction shot, when they show him in that bus when he's coming to the village to take over his post, you could never guess, na, that this is how his character arc would be. There's this innocent, really sweet man who's, and also very beautifully done that scene where he, when they try to kill Gautam Menon and they throw those, they blast those rocks, and how he takes the jeep over those rocks. He's so confident. And there's one guy at the back who's trying to, impress the Gautam Menon and is going on giving him instructions. And he's saying, listen, let me just do my job. I know how to do this. I know this. I've been on this road, on this rocky terrain. And he's, even in the beginning, when he helps that woman, it's just that he puts everything aside. It's his new job. It's probably his first or second day at work. And he decides to go against, because he's so humane. And says, नहीं मुझे इसको hospital लेके जाना है, मुझे लेके जाना है, वो मर जाएगी. And then the way he faces those consequences.
Even at the start, when he's walking with that senior officer, he says that I have worked before also in jungles in Kerala.
Yeah.
So he says that's why you are recruited here.
Yeah. And all they do, and that beautiful, it's not beautiful, it's actually very sad, but that first day when he's walking with all those bags and he's negotiating that very difficult terrain, and this cop is with him, he passes a part where on the stones there are some officers' uniforms and there's red color. And he says, do you have North Indian officers posted here as well? So he says, no, why do you ask? So he says, looks like y'all have played Holi because there's a lot of color. And he says it with a half smile. And that other cop very seriously tells him that, you think this is Holi? That's their blood.
So there you can see his innocence also.
Yeah, yeah.
There is one more scene where he shows his innocence, and that scene is very well staged also. Where this guy Gautam Menon, first time he comes to that place and he's talking, he's sitting, and all those police officers are also there. He's talking, and this guy.
Oh, with the tea tray, with the tea tray.
Yeah. Then he that moment, that's very nice.
Saurabh, there's no background music there, right,
Yeah.
Saurabh? But he's almost doing it rhythmically. Every time he comes forward, then he goes back. Then he comes forward, then he goes back. Oh, he's done it so well without any, theatrics. It's just how it would have been in real life, I feel. Yeah, lovely scene.
For somebody like a Suri, to whom comedy comes so easily, and people may laugh at him even probably when they look at him, because that's the kind of characters that he's done, and he's done it so brilliantly. For somebody like him to do a role like so serious a role, and then justify it in a way that it has been justified, and yet come out top on that. What do you guys think about that? Because I think that is really brilliant.
Yeah, no.
It's a casting coup in a way.
So I just want to say Suri's career graph. So he was doing these comic roles.
Yeah.
And back in and he used to always be the sidekick of the protagonist, or he has this separate comedy track. Interestingly, his name, his he did a film called Vanilla Kabaddi Kutam.
Hmm.
It is about kabaddi players, and there's one scene where he's eating. There's a comedy gag, separate gag.
Parotas, parotas.
Yeah, yeah, he's eating parotas, and his name. He became famous after that film, and his name was Parota Suri. People used to call him Parota Suri, and he used to do these films where he is sidekick or he has his separate comedy gag. And in 2016 and 2017, he was mocked very badly because his comedy was not working.
Hmm.
And people used to criticize him. Even critics also used to criticize him, saying that he is doing this comedy which is not working and people are not laughing. So this film was also to prove his acting ability also. I think he wanted to prove himself that he is not only a comedian. He is a complete actor.
Oh,
We discussed this in our comedy episode also, that if a comedian or a actor who is doing comic role, if he does a serious role, they will kill that role.
yeah, yeah,
Suri is a perfect example.
absolutely. And Saurav, I just wanted to ask you, you would know. So, how was he cast? Based on what?
So, Vetrimaran, it is Vetrimaran's words that he saw a certain kind of innocence, a naivety in his face.
Hmm.
Suri also wanted to ask Vetrimaran that why you casted me, but he never asked because he thought that अरे ये role भी चला जाएगा अगर पूछूंगा
Acha,
मेहनत से मिला है ये अगर मैं
acha.
पूछने जाऊंगा तो शायद चला जाएगा इसलिए he didn't ask. But he did an interview with Bharadwaj Rangan, and Bharadwaj Rangan said Suri that you know why Vetrimaran casted you, because I asked Vetrimaran, and Vetrimaran said that you have that certain kind of innocence, a naivety in your face.
So, I would like to state something here that more than anything else, I would give credit to the director, to Vetrimaran, to think that he can cast Suri and get away with it and would be able to exploit the vulnerability and the innocence of this actor and his face for this particular character. The other director, who I've seen, has been able to pull this off brilliantly by casting people who you would never even think that they'd be able to perform like this, is Mani Ratnam. Mani Ratnam also manages to catch hold of certain people who and get them to perform as in a particular role which could shock you, saying that, oh, this guy is personally capable of doing something like this. So it is the director's conviction that managed to do this. It is the director's conviction to even get the heroine to play the character, to make her look like a tribal. My God, she has just got so much into the skin of the character that you will not even believe that she could be an actress. You will believe that she's an act. She's the character herself. So full marks to Vetrimaran for thinking out of the box and doing something like this where his heart is in the right place. And again, over here, the honesty scores.
Since you have mentioned the female characters, about female character also, let's talk about the romance, the romantic portion between Vetrimaran and Tamilarsi. Sorry, Suri and Tamilarsi.
Yeah, I was wondering. No, so before I come to that, I just want one clarification, and I'm talking now from the point of view of geography of the place that we were shooting. Sorry, we were seeing the film. When you see the film for the first time, when you open the film after the entire sequence of the train and the accident and everything that happens, and when you see how Suri travels from where he first sort of reports to the place where he's supposed to be posted, there is the police inspector that travels with him. So they take the jeep and they come to a particular place, and then from there on they walk, and it looks like a never-ending walk where he keeps on walking, and you realize for a fact, you probably feel, is there in a way even a way of a road getting here? Is there a possibility of a vehicle getting here? Because they just keep walking and they keep walking, and the terrain is not simple. It's a tough terrain. And after that initial long walk to go to this remote place where he's posted, where all the others are also there, where they do their training and they cook food and all that, from that point onwards, then for the rest of the film, the travel to and fro to that posting just seems to be so simple. They just get into the car and they travel. They're there within the closest town or the smallest town and to this posting place. It seems so convenient. And if it was that convenient, why did the director have to take a route which was so rocky and difficult for the protagonist to reach from one place to another? I'm a little bit of a quandary over here.
Yeah, I'd like to take that, but Saurabh, do you want to say something?
No, no, after you, Nalini.
Yeah, so I think in the beginning, they've completely established the difficult terrain. When he's got those bags, he's dropped off there and he has to go upar niche, ubad khabad, patthron ke upar, the stones have got moss, there's a little stream. He has to cross that stream. Then again, he has to climb a hillock. Then from the right on top of the hillock, again, he has to go down and he has to reach that post where he's supposed to deliver the khana to all those people. And that is his job. He's not there living on that post. That's where he's supposed to deliver the food. And they've shown us that difficult terrain from aerial shots, from close ups, and we can see their feet and all of that. But every time they can't show us that, right? He takes the jeep and the bike, and there are cops there. They come there to take the khana from him. He puts the dabbas down, and there are other cops then doing the difficult terrain because he has been hired as a driver. He doesn't, he's a driver. He's not supposed to take that route every day.
And it was his first day also. And
Yeah.
if you see the first day itself, that a murder and shootout happens, and he's not assigned the jeep also. That's why he travels with the police officer.
Yes.
So, I'm not, although you are trying to tell me all this and I can completely understand, but I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced on two reasons. Why? A, I'm an audience who's seeing the film and I'm seeing this terrain being so tough and rocky for him to reach from point A to point B. But also, please do not forget that I'm also a filmmaker and I understand how many times can you keep showing this travel from point A to point B. You cannot keep showing it always. I can understand that, but every single time that he takes food in the dabba, he's taking it in his jeep. He's not taking it anywhere else. And he's not traveling alone for the first time when he's going to the posting. There is another cop with him who's traveling with him. So, I mean, although you are convinced about it, and I'm okay with that, I as a filmmaker and as a viewer, I'm not convinced about the idea of having to show such a rocky terrain right in the beginning, which is so remote a place for them to get to, and then after that,
Oh, he's showing them that where all those, that's the last little picket point of the
No,
police.
I think at the start the Vetrimaran wanted to show the audience the whole geography of the place.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And second
yeah,
thing,
but there are
it might not sound convincing, but पहले ही एक कांड हो चुका है, that encounter thing. So the other police officers are busy covering that encounter, and the second thing, one more guy runs who was sitting next to Suri. So they were interrogating him also. So they were busy with that. That's why there is no vehicle for Suri and the other police officer to go to reach at that place.
Yeah,
That can also
possible.
be happen, I guess. That can also happen.
And anyway, I don't think any jeep or vehicle or motorcycle can make that terrain down on those moss-covered stones and the thing. So that food would have to go to them physically via a human. But his job, he's been hired to be a driver. That's it. That's what I understood. Anyway, moving on, Ashuji, you had something else to say?
no. I think you wanted to start on the romance. I said before we get onto that, I just
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah,
get on
Saurabh wanted to. Yes, Saurabh. Over to you, Saurabh.
Yeah, so my favorite scenes in the film are the romantic portion, which is quite ironical because the film is so hard hitting, but the romantic scenes captured my attention. So one of my favorite scene is the scene where this guy Suri is eating all these guard. They call chocho in Tamil in the film,
Huh, huh.
and the first time he eats that homely cooked food given by that girl, and there's a very beautiful shot where this guy is sitting and eating, and you see this master shot with all those waters and greenery. That is such a beautiful scene in the film, such a
Yeah,
beautiful shot, and Ilayaraja's mesmerizing music.
music.
And the second one is this guy is giving her that chudi. He gives that thali dabba and he says that something special is there in this dabba, and then she wears, and the way she shows him that मैंने चोटी पहनी है, that is such a beautiful
Yeah.
scene.
Yes, she waits at behind क्योंकि वो खड़ा है उसने उसको देख लिया है पर वो bushes के पीछे जाती है दूसरी लड़की को बोलती है तू जा पहले. So then that
हाँ.
girl goes and then the other girl, the second girl is looking at her and is always going to overtake her. Then she says नहीं नहीं अब तेरे सामने मैं जाऊंगी. So she comes in front of her and then she goes
And
and then
she
she
calls
just
her and she calls her and this girl is like, अरे तुमने ही तो बोला था आगे जाने के.
and then she puts out her hand and he sees those green bangles.
And the way Suri reacts, the smile, that innocence.
Yeah. Yeah, and on the whole screen you see her arm, no? You see her arm with the bangles. It's a very close shot of her arm. Yeah, beautiful. And the jugnus, the fireflies in that song, that whole jungle with jugnus.
The second song.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
the second song. Oh God. And also Saurabh in their romance, when she tells him who she is, who she's related to, na? जब वो
Yeah.
पूजा कर रहे होते हैं वो दरख्त होती है वहां पे and he's talking to her and those shots also so beautiful. And then when she tells him, he's listening to her and he's got so much empathy. And then when
Yeah.
he walks away, he, I mean, for this guy, he's very clear. The character is what is right, what is wrong. He's seeing police brutality, he's seeing the wrongs that are happening. He's not apologizing to his OC because he knows he's not done the wrong thing. And imagine, he loves this girl. He even tells her, hey, when I get fed up and I feel like running away from this place, and the only reason I stay back is because how will I see you, right? और फिर उसको ही छोड़ के वो आगे चला जाता है, कि अब I can't associate myself with her because she's uncle is a terrorist or something, right? So his character is very beautifully established in all these decisions that he takes, and in the end, that decision that he takes also.
And he says sorry also. There's one scene where he calls her and he says sorry. In entire film, there's something brutal happens and this guy is showing empathy. At the start also, he's showing empathy. Then there's one scene where the girl runs and they shoot that girl.
Oh,
there
God.
also Suri is showing his empathy.
Yeah.
And here also with this girl, Tamil Arsi. Because of this empathy, this quality of empathy only, he catches, goes to catch Vadyar, Perumal. And that is what this guy's characters is a very well written character, because in the end when he's going to catch this guy, Vijay Sethupazi's character, he doesn't want any promotion or any reward. He just want to save this girl, Tamil Arsi.
Yeah, he's very clear. He's absolutely, कोई डावाडोल ही नहीं है इसमें. कोई डावाडोल तभी होता है जब वो memo, they give him a memo and then that corrupt cop writes a reply for him and he says, okay, fine, if I give the memo and if I apologize, I'll get my job back or whatever. But then he again takes a decision and said, no, he won't give that memo. So there's just that one moment of weakness where he says, no, but I'm right. What I did was right. I saved that.
And there is only one scene in the film where he truly want to show his police training capability, and that is that jeep scene where
yes.
rock comes in between.
Yes. And also in the beginning, no, there's one dialogue where he's telling his superior that, listen, I'm a shooter. Give me a gun.
Yeah, Amudam to that senior officer.
Yeah, I'm a shooter. Give me a gun. And how beautifully it ties up to the climax. Saurabh, I can't forget that trembling hand of his going for that gun. No? It's gun, his hand is trembling.
And Ilayaraja's music. Tan, tan, tan.
Yeah.
Full victory music.
Yeah, and he's doing parkour and all. And whatever parkour and all he's done, it doesn't look fake. It doesn't look like the parkour that was done.
He has done his own stunt with the cable, obviously with the cables, but he has done his own stunts.
Yeah. He falls, he's hurting himself, and it doesn't look fake. It just looks very real. And like Ashuji said right in the beginning, this man, I don't know what it means. People are going to probably laugh, but this man looks like a cop. I'm sorry, but it's very cliche, but वो लगता है पुलिस वाला, है ना?
और वो जब विजय सेतुपति को पकड़ भी रहा है तब भी बोल रहा है प्लीज प्लीज आ जाइए हमारे साथ, प्लीज भागिए मत, वहाँ वो लोग फंसे हुए उधर.
इतना प्यारा character, so well written, so beautifully performed.
And I think in the film, with the girl and the only person, other than girl, the only person who understood Suri's character was Vijay Sethupathi. That's why he says to his team also, कि उसको छोड़ दो.
Don't touch him. Because he's heard that he saved that woman, right?
Yes.
And took her to the hospital, he says. And I think the icing on the cake or the cherry on top of this film is what they show us after the movie gets over. And I'm going to let Ashujit speak about that.
So for me, what I think was, uh, it was so simple for the director to make Suri slightly heroic. मतलब अगर थोड़ा, even if he had to do a little action, the audiences would have got away with it. Would have got away with the audiences, and they would have accepted it because the situation was such where his only sole focus was in some way trying to see that he manages to save the girl. But the director chose to be real. He chose to be honest to the character. And when I say he chose to be real, he chose to be honest to the character, was he's not Superman. He's not somebody who'll start, going into that place and going dishum, dishum, dishum to everybody. He he is literally pleading, wanting to meet the DSP or Gautam Menon's character, to meet him and tell him that I know where he is. Let me, help me, give me some people. I will take him there. Then he goes with them and he jumps rooftops to rooftops. And he's when the rooftop jumping is not again heroic, it's all natural, it's all real. He actually hides and he still doesn't have a gun. And he's telling them, come here. He's directing the rest of them. So, in a way, you can see his heroism because he's leading the team, but he's still normal because he's not doing something which is out of the ordinary. His extraordinary event in this sequence is where he doesn't mind putting his life on the line, where in some way he can manage to get these people to catch Vijay Sethupathi, so that he can manage to get those ladies and the love of his life released from the cops, because he knows how power has corrupted these people. The elongated climax of jumping from one roof to the other, from moving from one house to the other, from entering one place to the other, it's so brilliantly shot and so real and so nice that it is heart rendering also to a certain extent.
Yeah, there are a lot of shots over there, which the edit is also, they're long shots. That's why I guess it looks real. And after doing all of that and catching this guy in the end, what does he get? He still gets punished by the OC.
That we will see in second part.
Oh gosh, yes, that they show us in the thing. All right, okay.
And that is your cherry on the top, because what he's done is he's given a teaser to the audiences to for them to preempt what is in store in part two and what is going to happen. And the attitude of Vijay Sethupath's character, although he's sitting down in front of Gautam Menon and then he crosses his legs. I will not want to say more about this in terms of his appearance, but you realize that although he's got no power over there, but yet the way he speaks, the way he sits, the posture, he just equates himself to Gautam Menon's character or the cop, saying that I'm not intimidated by you or your force or your power. It's brilliant.
This reminds me of how Vijay Sethupath's character is written. You don't see him in the entire film, like only 10 minutes you see, but you will feel the presence in the entire film, his presence.
Oh,
If
yeah.
if I remember right, I think Vijay Sethupath's character you see 1 hour into the film.
Uh, when they in the night, no, it's earlier than that when they get onto that Jeep and he's got the muffler.
It's 1 hour.
That's the first hour? Okay,
Yeah,
maybe.
you don't miss him, but
No, because they're talking about Perumal the whole time. So his personality or his, they don't know what he looks like, but he's right there. He's like the background music that is a part of the story. And the background music, like Ashiji said, is so beautiful. I just wanted to tell the listeners that after watching Vidhuthalai, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, I immediately messaged Saurav and Ashiji, and I asked Saurav, when is the second part coming? You know, because at the end of part one, uh, they show you this epilogue where they're showing you that some of the mysteries are being solved, some are not being solved. And like Ashiji just spoken about that, how Vijay Sethupathi is sitting on the floor. But the fact is that at that point in time, he doesn't need a gun. He doesn't need anything to show his power. In that entire scene that they've shown in the epilogue, he's the one holding the power. He's the one who has the power. I don't know, somehow. That's the feeling I got. Even though Gautam Menon is the cop and he's sitting on on a stool in this guy. So that was brilliant. Yeah. So we're not going to give away too much about part two. We've given away quite a bit about part one. And needless to say, in this narrative, as is always the case, none of these stories can move forward. None of the people like People's Army, Naxals, Maoists, tribals, whatever, the ones who take to guns, they cannot do it without the complicity of the cops, some of the cops, who we would put quote unquote dirty cops. But in this film, because you have seen so much of the police brutality, not just money corruption. In fact, I don't see any scenes with a lot of money exchanging hands, but the moral corruption of the police, you see enough of it that when the OC and there is another character, there are two, three of them who are sympathetic to the cause, who are the ones who are actually going back and revealing what's happening in the cop station. You don't hate the cops. You don't feel that they're doing something wrong. That's what I felt. That's why this film is really not about right or wrong, because both sides are right and wrong, you know. And both times that OC goes, he goes to that chaiwala and he tells him कि वो police एक है Kumaresan करके, which is Suri's character, has recognized the sketch. You feel a little sympathetic that they're all trying to save Setupati. है ना Saurabh, Ashuji, that's what I felt. I didn't feel angry with the cops for being hand in glove with them. Somehow, in another film, possibly I would have, because at the end of the day, it is violence, you know. That's what I felt.
So there's one thing I'd like to point out, where you said that there is this, the film is like a slow burn, it sort of grows onto you or whatever. I think somewhere the director is also trying to say that this is the pace of the life of those people, of those inhabitants over there. It's slow, it moves slow. It gives me, I'll give you a parallel to this is, oh God, I forget that name of the film now. It's a cult film, if you guys remember. It's an English Hollywood film where I think it's Tim Robbins behind the prison with
Shawshank Redemption. Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank Redemption. So the Shawshank Redemption, the film is slow paced. It moves really slow. But what the director is doing is trying to tell you that this is the pace of these guys behind the cell. It's really nothing for them to move ahead and move quickly. It just moves at its own pace. And that, I think, is a conscious decision in the first part of the film, where they say that everything moves at its own pace in this remote place. And I think it really adds to the storytelling.
Yeah. Saurabh?
From my point of view, if you want to know what I think about this film, at the end of it, I think I'm ready for the second part. I think that says it all. Please bring it on. Let's see the second part also.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the second part, really. Saurabh?
Yeah, obviously, I'm also waiting for the second part. I was just reading that second part might release this year itself, November or December.
That's what I read too. Yeah, yeah.
I observed one more thing which I felt after seeing the director's cut is whenever these guys are planning to kill Suri,
Yeah.
उसी टाइम विजय सेतुपति के गैंग कुछ ना कुछ करते हैं.
कुछ करते हैं, हाँ, बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल. बहुत अच्छा था वो, बहुत अच्छा. I'm so happy I saw the director's cut because I would have missed this whole big bunch. And also in the director's cut, correct me if I'm wrong because it's been a few days, Saurabh. You know that right not in the beginning, but there's this lady that they shoot, right? And then they bury her and they put sugar and stuff, right? So, so the investigation of her murder, so to speak, is there in the theatrical cut? Because I don't remember.
No.
Right. Okay.
So for the people who want to watch the film, both the versions are available. You can watch the director's cut, or you can even watch the theatrical cut, or like Nalini ji and Saurabh, you can watch both and draw a parallel for yourself as to what you think about it. From my point of view, and at least from my point of view and our point of view, it's a highly recommended film. You must watch it.
और ये पिक्चर रिलीज होने से पहले I have a question and that question is for Vetrimaran. कि वेट्रीमारन जी अगर आप सेकंड पार्ट निकाल रहे हैं, so from what point of view you will release the second part? From the director's cut point of view or from theatrical cut point of view?
or maybe both.
He said it, no, in some interview.
So क्या सेकंड पार्ट में भी डायरेक्टर्स कट वर्जन होगा फॉर मूवी?
ऐसे मैंने सुना. But one has seen quite a few Naxals or versus cops versus government, not Naxals, tribals, let's call them. But this is one of the better made films, best film I think that I can remember till date. I think it has done full justice to not only the subject, but the way it has been written and shot.
Whether it's going to be both, or whether it's going to be the director's cut is also going to be released. I think they've set a precedent here where they've released the theatrical as well as the director's cut. I think you can expect the both coming in the second part as well.
Then that will be like extravaganza for movie buffs.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Saurabh, you want to sign off with this? Or is there anything else to say in this?
Nothing. Done. We have covered everything, I guess.
So Nalini ji, do you want to sign off?
Yeah, I just want to sign off and tell the listeners that, basically this film is about an innocent police officer coming to terms with the harsh realities of the world. And it's a very well-made film. We highly recommend it. And for me personally, which is why I ended up watching the director's cut also, is a film like this, sometimes for somebody like me who gets very disturbed by violence, this film for me had repeat value, which is why I saw both the director's cut and this. So we hope you've enjoyed this podcast. And thank you for your support. Thank you for being with us. And we are sorry we were a little delayed. This time it was a long pause. But Vidhuthalai Part 1 is available on Z5. And do let us know what you think about the film.
So I think we've about covered everything from our perspective as far as Vidhuthalai is concerned. And Vetrimaran has got at least 2 more fans in his list in Nalini ji and myself, because Saurabh was already a fan.
Absolutely.
And I have, like I said, I've seen his earlier film also. And I will look forward to what is happening next from his table. Up until then, till we see the next one, and we will hopefully carry a podcast for that also. Please keep listening to us. Please showering your love to us. And please do not forget that we are an independent podcast. We are not supported. Well, actually, this is a wrong thing to say. We are supported by you, and that is what matters the most. So thank you for your love and support. And until the next time, see you guys.